So before the video begins, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the video, Fan to Fan Network. Now, what the Fan to Fan Network is a network for you guys, for the fans, giving you unbiased and real analysis and perspective. If you guys are tired of the mainstream media, if you're tired of the same old watered down biased takes, and you want a different perspective, unbiased, uncut, and real, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan Network. They're going to be streaming live streams almost every day on Twitch. The link will be down in the description in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan.
Growing up as a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from.
What is up, everybody? It's JT Sportsman at you guys with another video. And this video I'm going to be talking about the last time the Cleveland Browns made the playoffs. So, the Cleveland Browns, since getting back to the NFL in 1999, have been the biggest laughingstock in the league, being one of the worst run franchises, not only in the NFL, but in sports. Since 1999, the Browns have only had 2 winning seasons, that being 2007 and 2002, which was the last time the Cleveland Browns made the playoffs. Now, at the current year I'm recording this, it is currently the year of 2020, which makes that 18 years since the Cleveland Browns last appeared in the playoffs. And that makes it over 6,000 days since the Cleveland Browns' last playoff games. Now, the 2002 Cleveland Browns team, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in the history of the Cleveland Browns franchise. Now, most of the best Cleveland Browns teams have came from the 1940s and the 1950s, when people were still taking pictures in black and white. Now, heading into the 2002 NFL season, it was a lot of optimism around the Cleveland Browns because they were coming off a surprising 7-9 season in 2001, led by first-year head coach Butch Davis. Now, Butch Davis was hired the year prior from his days coaching at the University of Miami. He left the University of Miami to take the Cleveland Browns head coaching job. Not only was he named the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, but he also had general manager power as well. Now, going into his second season as the head coach, Davis and the Browns were looking to build off a solid 2001 campaign. In the offseason, in the 2002 NFL Draft, they drafted halfback William Green out of Boston College with their first-round selection. Now, William Green was coming off an impressive season for Boston College in 2001. He rushed for 1,559 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, and averaged 5.1 yards per carry, which led the Big East Conference in all 3 categories: rushing yards, touchdowns, and yards per carry. They also drafted wideout Andre Davis in the second round from Virginia Tech. In rounds 3 and 4, they selected center Melvin Fowler out of Maryland, linebackers Kevin Bentley and Ben Taylor from Northwestern Virginia Tech, and tight end Darnell Sanders from Ohio State University, which capped off the 4th round for the Browns. Now, their last 2 selections of the 2002 NFL Draft were Andre Davis, a linebacker from the University of Florida, in round 5, and offensive tackle Jaquan Gonzalez from Miami in the 7th round. The Cleveland Browns roster heading into the 2002 season was, in my opinion, pretty average. On offense, they had quarterback Tim Couch, who was the #1 overall pick in the 1999 NFL Draft. It was coming off his best season as a pro so far in his career, in 2001, throwing for 3,040 passing yards, 17 touchdowns, and 21 interceptions with a completion percentage of 59.9%. Rookie halfback William Green was the starter at the halfback position. The wide receiver position was probably the best part of their offense going into 2002. You had Kevin Johnson, who had a breakout season in 2001 with 1,097 receiving yards. He had 84 receptions and 9 touchdowns. Quincy Morgan was going into his second year. After an okay rookie season, he caught 30 receptions for 432 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. The offensive line was the biggest question mark for the Cleveland Browns in the offseason heading into the 2002 season. In 2001, they allowed 51 sacks, which was one of the most in the NFL from the previous season. Now, the key starts that they had on the defensive side of the football was defensive tackle Gerard Warren, who had 5 sacks the previous year as a rookie. The secondary was okay. They had cornerbacks Corey Fuller and Dalen McCutcheon. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. They also had safeties Robert Griffith, Devin Bush Sr., and despite not having a great roster, the Cleveland Browns going into 2002 had a really exceptional coaching staff. Butch Davis at the time was one of the best up-and-coming head coaches. Bruce Arians was the offensive coordinator. You had Fazio as the defensive coordinator, and other notable coaches such as Todd Bowles, Keith Butler, and Chuck Pagano as assistant and positional coaches. In the preseason, the Cleveland Browns were projected to be a solid borderline playoff team based off what they did in 2001, going 7-9, and Vegas had them win at least 8 games. Now, week 1, they faced the Kansas City Chiefs, and Kelly Holmcomb was named the starter due to Tim Couch being unable to play. Holmcomb got the Browns out to a 30-17 lead going into the fourth quarter. The Chiefs would then come back scoring 2 touchdowns in 1 minute by Priest Holmes, and the Chiefs took a 31-30 lead late in the fourth quarter. The Browns would then go on to retake the lead back when Holmcomb threw a 44-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Quincy Morgan, but the Browns were unable to convert on their 2-point conversion, which made the score 36-31 as they were up. The Chiefs on the next drive, as Holmes scored his 3rd touchdown in the quarter, 4th touchdown of the game overall, which gave the Chiefs a 37-36 lead. The following possession, the Browns would go on to take the lead with 29 seconds left with a field goal, which they went up 39-36. Now, in typical Browns fashion, this happened.
Last chance. Green under pressure. What? And he throws it back to John Tate, his lineman. It's a 25. Look at him rumbling, bubbling. Convoy, don't tell me he's going to score. He's not. It's over. Butch Davis has won. But wait a minute. Wayne Rudd, unsportsmanlike penalty through his helmet. Yes, it may have been in celebration, but Tom, it's the rule.
Well, you can't even remove your helmet on the football field while the ball is still in play. So that's the first mistake, the throwing of the helmet as you're celebrating. The second mistake.
And so it cannot end on a defensive penalty. The Chiefs get a chance for Morton Anderson, and of course he delivers an unbelievable finish in Cleveland. Remember the finish they had in their last year? This amazing. The Chiefs.
Following the Browns' loss to the Chiefs, the Browns bounced back in their next 2 games, beating the Bengals 20-7 and the Tennessee Titans 31-28 in overtime. Going into week 4, the Browns had a 2-1 record. They will now go on a 3-game losing streak, losing to AFC North rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. They lost to the Steelers 16-13, and they lost to the Baltimore Ravens 26-21, along with losing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road in Tampa 17-3. At this point of the season, the Browns were 2-4, and it was starting to look like they were on back to their losing ways. The good thing was their next 2 opponents were 2 of the worst teams in the NFL that season, the Houston Texans and the New York Jets. Now, the Browns were able to capitalize, beating both of those teams, and they got their record back to 500. Week 9, once again, they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which made them 0-2 against the Pittsburgh Steelers that season. They lost 23-20. Going into their Week 10 bye week, the Cleveland Browns had a 4-5 record, and they were in the middle of the 2002 playoff race. They were, at this point, competing for that last seed in the AFC, which was that 6th seed. Coming off their bye week, they beat the Bengals on the road 27-20. The following week, they went on the road and got a surprise upset victory against the New Orleans Saints 24-15. In the month of December, the Browns really started to hit their stride. They won 3 out of their last 5 games to close out the season. Their 2 losses in that span of December came week 13 against the Carolina Panthers when they lost 13-6, and week 15 when they lost to the Indianapolis Colts 28-23. Now, their wins in that month came week 14 against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a nail-biter, which they won that game 21-20. Week 16 against the Baltimore Ravens 14-13, which was a huge win because basically it put them in the driver's seat for that 6th seed in that last available playoff spot in the AFC. Week 17, they would go ahead and clinch their 2002 playoff berth when they would go ahead and got the win over Michael Vick and the Atlanta Falcons 24-16. Now, heading into the wild card weekend, the Cleveland Browns were matched up once again with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They would have to go on the road in Heinz Field and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers if they wanted to advance to the divisional round. Now, a lot of people really felt the Cleveland Browns had a good chance of beating the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Pittsburgh Steelers And all 2 of their matches that they played, they were not able to come out top. And a lot of people felt the Browns would be able to pull off this victory against the Steelers because you rarely see an NFL team in one season lose to the same team 3 consecutive times. Now, during the game, the Cleveland Browns had a 13-point lead heading into the 4th quarter. But despite this, they still managed to lose the game in the most Browns ways possible, allowing the Pittsburgh Steelers to score 15 unanswered points in the 3 minutes, with the final score being 36-33. A big reason for the Pittsburgh Steelers' comeback, according to Bruce Arians, and I quote, Fazio had the play calling responsibilities taken away from him in the second half in Pittsburgh. Fazio wanted to blitz the Steelers more. Davis didn't. Davis got his way, and Pittsburgh scored 29 points in the second half, and Tommy Maddox threw for 367 yards. Fazio would end up getting demoted to the scouting department and would later on die to leukemia in 2009. Following the game, Fazio was fired immediately, and later down the years, the Browns wouldn't come close to reaching the playoffs again or having a winning season until 2007. And despite having a winning season in 2007, they still missed the playoffs. And it's really crazy to think that despite having one of the best seasons in franchise history, they still ended their season the most Cleveland Browns way possible. They had a solid team, but like now, a lot of dysfunction. The coaching staff was dysfunctional, and the Cleveland Browns organization, even to present day, is still dysfunctional. In 2004, Butch Davis would later on resign from his head coaching duties, and he would go back to college football. And this is the story of the 2002 Cleveland Browns. And it's really funny because it's really a weird story, because you would like to think that Butch Davis, when you're up that big going into the second half, you would like to, keep the guy who's calling the plays, make him keep calling the plays, keep on blitzing. But according to multiple reports and multiple stories that I read, Butch Davis wanted to take over the play calling. He wanted to more cover 4. He wanted to run more conservative schemes and things like that. So he ran cover 4 basically the whole entire second half, and they got straighted by Tommy Maddox, and that's why the Cleveland Browns ultimately lost that game on the road in Pittsburgh. Now, if Fazio would have kept calling the plays and kept on blitzing, the Cleveland Browns most likely would have ended up winning that game, and they probably would have went on to the divisional round. So this is the story of the 2002 Cleveland Browns. Let me know what you guys think about the 2002 Cleveland Browns down in the comment section down below. How did you feel about how the season unfolded? How do you feel about the last game of the season for the Cleveland Browns unfolded when they ultimately choked against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Make sure that you guys, if you are new to the channel, that you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.